Just on the road. It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning. I'm heading off down to Corrimal High School. Now, Corrimal is down towards Wollongong, about a 2-hour drive from where I live. I'm heading down there to talk to the Year 7s and 8s about what I do, which is tell stories and write books. Is really the simple answer. And the brief I've been given by the people at Corrimal High, the teachers, the teacher librarian and so forth, is to talk to the Year 7s and 8s and enthuse them about reading and writing, which by their own admission is a tall order, but to do in 3 1-hour sessions. But that is what I am going to endeavour to do. Now, the question, I suppose, is why? To what end? Well, of course, the end that we're trying to achieve is that they will be enthused about reading and writing, but why not just spend that money on more books? Why not say to those kids, what sort of books would you like, and then buy those? And there's some merit to that approach. But I have a theory, which I am going to share with you, about what the great advantage of authors going into schools is, and it's establishing a connection between the book and a person, and by allowing the potential reader to meet the person behind the book, demystifies, I think is the best word I can come up with for this. It demystifies what we do. It demystifies the book as a phenomenon, because the book is a phenomenon. It's an amazingly efficient way to contain a huge amount of information in a fairly compact space. But I mean, really, we're just telling stories. That's the main thing we're doing. And so I think if you can demystify that connection between the story and the writer, and therefore allow the reader to see into that connection, it makes it easier for them to access those stories, and less scary, I suppose. And I think we live in a really fortunate age. Young people these days, I never had an author visit when I was at school, and most of my writing peers don't remember having author visits at schools. And I really wish we had, of course, but we didn't. And I don't know if it was just something that wasn't done very much, or whether because now we get paid to do it. Back then, maybe it was just seen as something you do to promote books. And as we well know, going into a school to talk to the Year 7s and 8s is not going to directly lead to a lot of sales, if any. However, there was another problem with the way I looked at books when I was a young person. That is that most of the books I was reading were written by dead people. I was reading books by C.S. Lewis, who was dead, and Mark Twain, who was dead, and Arthur Ransom's Swallows and Amazons, well, he was dead. Roald Dahl was almost dead. So a lot of the books I was reading were just something that was there, and it was almost like it had always been there. I never saw that proper connection between the book I was reading and the regular human person who constructed that story, who took that idea and made it into the product that I just adored and loved and lapped up. So I think when you go into a school, certainly speaking for myself, going to school and talking about what we do is not really so much about going, this is the list of my books, go and buy them all and read them. It's more about saying to students, every one of the books that you see in this library, every spine in this library represents a regular person, like them, like me, like you, seeing an idea, seeing something that stimulated a bit of an idea popping off, firing off in their head, and going, there's a story here that I can tell. That's what we do, and I think if you can stand up in front of kids, and sometimes I'll be asked in school sessions, a young student, say year 4 or year 3 student might say to me, do you have a dog? And sometimes the teachers will say to them, ask James a proper question. And I'm always quick to say, look, that is a proper question, because what that child is trying to do is clarify in their own mind that this person who's up here talking about the books they're holding up is just a regular person who is he doesn't spend his life in his study with a smoking jacket and a pipe and a glass of sherry, but actually he's just out there observing the world and looking for ideas, and then taking those ideas and turning them into stories. And I think once that connection is made, that's when stories come to life, and that's when books come to life, and that's when kids can feel a certain sense of confidence in going up to the library shelf, taking a book off, looking at it and going, well, this was written by a person like me. I can approach this. So that's what we're trying to do. I'll let you know how it goes.